Today we are going to talk about finding the volume of prisms. We're going to find the volume of several different types of prisms, and I will outline those today in the notes. When we are finding the volume of prisms, we will use the formula volume equals the area of the base multiplied by the height of your prism. Now, what we need to remember is that prisms are figures that have two bases that run parallel to each other. Whatever shape that base is what kind of prism we have. For example, here, our base runs parallel to that bottom base, and our base is a rectangle. So this is a rectangular prism. This is important because when we need to find the area of the base, we need to make sure that we are using the appropriate area formula. This right here, like I said, is a rectangular prism. Here, our bases are triangles. Therefore, that is a triangular prism, and we need to remember to then use the area formula for a triangle. We will also have a couple different types of prisms, but when we use those prisms, a lot of times we will get the base already for us. So we're going to focus on the formula and practice plugging in for that with our given shapes. Again, our formula is going to be volume equals the area of the base multiplied by the height of our prism. So let's go ahead and try one here. So the very first thing that I want to do is take a look at my prism and say, okay, what kind of prism is this? Well, looking here, I've got a rectangular base and a rectangular base. All of my faces here are rectangles, so that means that this is a rectangular prism. This is important because for my base, I need to use the formula to find the area of a rectangle. In this case, that would be length times width. And then I multiply that times my height. Remember that the height doesn't always mean how tall, but it is the distance that is connecting both of our bases. So our height here is going to be 15. So then what I can do is use my calculator or mental math, and I can multiply 8 times 6 times 15. And when I multiply that out, I will get 720 cubic yards. The other way that I could write that is 720 yards cubed. So that's written out the full way. This is your abbreviated way, 720 cubic yards, 720 yards cubed. Both work, your preference. Okay, so this was a rectangular prism. So I used my length times width to find the area of my base and multiplied it by my height. Altogether, that will get me my answer. Let's go ahead and take a look at another type of example. Here, again, the first thing I want to do is take a look and determine which kind of prism this is. This time, I see that I've got two triangles. One's right here, and then that back one right here that are running parallel to each other. So therefore, this is a triangular prism. Again, this is important because when I go ahead and plug in here for my base, I need to use the area formula of a triangle. To recall that, we've got base times height divided by 2. So we've got to remember that that base times height is that of the triangle specifically. Okay, so right here, I've got my base, which is 5.5, times the height of my triangle, Divide all that by 2, and then I look to the base, the height. The height is the one that connects my two bases. When I multiply that all out, I'm going to go ahead and do that on my calculator. I know that if I'm multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2, that does cancel out, but that's not always going to happen. So I will check my work, do 5.5 times 2, divide by 2, getting me this time 5.5. Again, that's not always going to be the case, so you do want to go ahead and check your work. And once I multiply all that together, I will get 22 inches cubed. Again, you can use a calculator. I do recommend it to check your work. So this one was a triangular prism. We know that because it had 2 triangle bases, and therefore that switched up what the base formula is. We've got one more example here. And this is an example where I take a look and I notice that actually I've got a pentagon as my base. But the cool thing here, and anytime we have a figure that has more than 4 sides, we will get the base already written for us, which is pretty nice because now all I need to do when it says that big B equals 60 feet pointing to your shape, you can go ahead and just plug in. So here I've got 60 times my height, which is 5. Remember that height is that distance between my bases. I multiply all of that together, getting me 300 cubic feet. And that's how we do it. We go ahead and take our formula. Remember that to find the volume of any prism, we multiply the area of the base times the height. And there you have it.